Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's a Lit Life with Miranda reads, and today we're talking about YA romance tropes. So like many people out there, I read a ton of young adult fiction. It's a hugely popular category, so there's always books being published, and there's honestly something for everyone. But we all have to admit there are some tropes to this category. So let's tier rank these tropes. So on the screen we have our S being the absolute best tier down to D being the worst. However, we cannot rank these as a D to S category. No, we need to create custom titles. At the bottom, the worst tier, I would say heebie-jeebies. These are the creepy ones. Alright, next one I want to do authors, please stop. Then we have overdone, I'm over it. Actually kinda decent. And the top tier is hell yes, give me more. Okay, so first one is probably the most quintessential YA trope, the love triangle. I will just say off the bat, I would want authors to stop the love triangle because it is never a true triangle. If it was a true triangle, it would at least be interesting. But no, it's always just the one girl and then like the super hot new guy and then like the super hot hometown guy who she's kind of had a thing for. But you always know who she ends up with within the first 10 chapters. So it ends up being a complete waste of time to have any attachment to the other half of that triangle. If it was a real triangle, that would be something different. I would be into that. But as it stands, love triangles, authors, please stop. Next one I got for you guys is enemies to lovers, because so many books rely on this enemies to lovers trope. Now the idea is that the characters hate each other at the beginning, but also they hate each other so much that they kind of like each other. To me, this one is kind of decent. Honestly, I like the tension that the enemies to lovers brings. I think there's a lot of books that do that really, really good. There's Gideon the Ninth, the Nevernight trilogy, or The Cruel Prince, there we go. All of those, like, took that enemies to lovers and they just made it like so entertaining to watch. Which, if we bring up the opposite to that, friends to lovers, not as entertaining. So with friends to lovers, you already know that they get along, you're just kind of waiting for them to make a move. And to me, that waiting period is kind of boring. I would rather have tension at the beginning and then have a resolution at the end rather than being friends and just kind of hoping that the other guy likes you for like ages. I feel like friends to lovers, overdone. Next two we have our Soulmates and Insta Love, which are two different tropes and I will go fighting that to my grave. So Insta Love means that essentially the moment you see that person, you are in love. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts. You are in love with that person. Soulmates, it means that you don't have a choice in who you love. So for Insta Love, I would say this one is an author's please stop. I am not a huge fan of the Insta Love because quite a few reasons. Probably the most significant one is that it feels saccharine. It feels too sweet, too fast, and if I don't have an emotional connection to the characters being together, then I really don't care if they are together. Like, for example, if you watch these two characters dance around each other for like 4 books and they finally get together at the end, that's amazing. If these two characters lock eyes and instantly they're in love and ready to get married, that's boring. So Insta Love, definitely authors please stop. Soulmates. So when you have a soulmate, you don't get to choose your partner. Someone else, fates, gods, whatever, has destined this person as being your partner. So I'm going to put Soulmates down as heebie-jeebies. 1, because it is worse than Insta Love, I mean hands down. 2, because it feels like you're being robbed of free will. It kind of feels like the fates or the gods are like, you and you, kiss. And to me, that's a little bit creepy. I have no desire to continue watching these couples because they're soulmates and I know no matter what that they're gonna fall in love. Slow burn. Obviously, this one is Hell Yes, Give Me More. So a slow burn book is a book where it takes a long time for the characters to get together. I prefer those because I am the kind of reader where I love having something to root for and something to invest my emotional attachment to these characters in. So when the characters get together within the first 30 pages, I'm like, ugh, whatever. But when they take 3+ books to finally fall in love, I cannot get enough of that. Forbidden Love. So for Forbidden Love, we have the two main characters. They love each other, but they can't be together because reasons. Be like Romeo and Juliet, or any of its like hundreds of remakes. I think it might be because I'm a little bit older now and I'm just, I don't know, like I just find this trope so tiring. Half the time I would say there's a pretty good reason why the Forbidden Love is put into place. But also the other half of the time, it just feels like the reasons are just so contrived and so dumb that I cannot stand this one. And I'm over it, but I'm also asking authors to stop. So the next one we have is Bad Boy, Good Girl. Lord knows that I read enough of these when I was a teen. It's always like a really tough teenage guy and like a super innocent girl, and their worlds collide and they have like all this love, and the girl converts the guy to becoming good or something like that. I realized after like my 20th book of this trope that it was literally the same plot every single one of them. And honestly, it is just overdone and I am over it. So I feel like everyone who reads YA gets into this one like corner of a phase where like you just want to read emotional angst, and mutual pining and unrequited love are like the two biggest for this one. So mutual pining first, it's just they both like each other but they can't admit it because of reasons. And even though I used to love this trope, I cannot emphasize this enough, but mutual pining is essentially whining at this point. AKA authors, please stop this trope. I just want to shake these characters and tell them like, say what you mean, and then we can just move this book and keep going and I don't have to listen to you anymore. So now we move on to the second half of pining, which is Unrequited Love, aka we have a one-directional love. I see this paired a lot with Love Triangle, where either the main character likes one of the guys but he doesn't like her back, or the guy likes her and she doesn't like him back. But in both cases, no matter what, this is authors, please stop. Because it's almost like pining, but there's only one person doing it, which makes it a little bit worse in my book. Age gap. Heebie-jeebies. And maybe I should have made a different category, because to me, age gap is just so much creepier than Soulmates. But anyway, luckily for YA, we don't have typically a huge age gap. It might be like 16, 18, 16, 19, something like that. But even then, I don't like that. Whether it is YA or adult, as soon as you have that age gap and that difference in power or knowledge in a relationship, I just can't stand it. I cannot handle it. Next one we have is Fluff. If you're unfamiliar, like a Fluff book is just a book where the characters are generally happy, there's nothing really terrible happening, and their relationship works pretty well. So I have said that like enemies to lovers is one of my favorite tropes, but a really entertaining Fluff book, actually kind of decent. Now I want to explain, like there are Fluff books that are just terrible, where there's absolutely nothing exciting to watch, the characters are just happy and you just don't care. But there are Fluff books that have that tension, that have that excitement, and the characters are just really cute and they click together so well that I would say totally worth it if you can find a good one. Now, if you can give me a series that starts enemies to lovers and then ends fluff with banter, oh my gosh, I think I would be in book heaven. And the last one, fake dating on this one. So I might be a smidge biased on this one because my last 3 fake dating books turned out amazing. But I would say, hell yes, give me more. So when you have a fake dating, the 2 characters are often thrown together because of circumstance and have to fake a relationship, and it almost always turns into a real relationship. I just love the tension, the excitement, the hijinks that these books come up with. I think the most recent ones I read of these is probably Written in the Stars, Boyfriend Material, and then Red, White, and Royal Blue. Like, those 3 were all just such amazing books that I'm on the fake dating trope. Like, give me more. Alright, so I just want to say thank you so much for watching. And if you have good books of my least favorite tropes, please let me know. I would love to have my opinion changed by reading some really good books that fit the terrible tropes.